This 58-year-old woman, Susan Lawrence, has allegedly just killed a mother of 4.
I got some bad news to tell you. Mom is not coming back anymore. Come. No. Come here. Come over here. Listen to me. No. I know. Okay. It's okay.
It only gets more twisted because it's actually Susan who dialed 911, first afraid for her own life.
Oh my God, this lady just tried to break down my door. I saw it through the door. Oh my God, they were trying to come in my house.
Claiming she had no choice but to defend herself, Susan has been playing a victim for months now.
I just didn't know she was going to actually get physical with me. His mother comes over here. If you treat my son like that again, I'm going to rip your ass out and go beat you up. Excuse me?
But soon detectives would find out this entitled neighbor might be hiding a much darker truth.
And she's like, hey, you know what? One day you guys are going to die. And I'm like, and that's when I like, whoa.
On June 2nd, 2023, in Ocala, Florida, an hysterical 911 call was made by a woman. She was panicked, terrified, and begging for help.
Oh my God, this lady just tried to break down my door. I saw it through the door. Oh my God.
Okay, repeat that address for me to make sure I have it correct.
They were trying to come in my house.
Okay, take a deep breath for me. Calm down.
Oh my God.
You said someone tried to break down your door, is that correct?
Yes, the woman was screaming and yelling. She was trying to break down my door.
Okay, it was a female?
Yes. I didn't know what to do. I grabbed my gun and I shot at the door. And I thought she was going to get me. Oh my God.
Okay, you said you shot at the door, is that correct?
Yes, I shot at the door because she wouldn't stop. I told her to get away and she wouldn't. She's begging. This is the woman who attacked me.
Okay, do you still see the subject?
I don't know where she is. I'm still in my house. I didn't open my door to her.
Did you know her?
Yes, she's come after me several times because of her children. Her children keep trespassing over here. They're bothering me and bothering me. They won't stop.
Is she a neighbor?
Yes.
Police were dispatched to the scene immediately, but they were too late. Before they even arrived, another 911 call came in, and this time, it wasn't about what might happen. It was about what just happened.
911 was
the white lady that lives right there, the one that always calls the cops. Come here, y'all boys, come here. Hey, y'all boys, come here.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Hey, your mom's laying in the grass or what?
I need you to repeat the address for me to make sure I have it correct.
I don't know what's going on. We just heard a gunshot.
Okay, sir.
Your mom's laying in the grass, but
Sir.
Nobody wants to go over there. We ain't trying to get caught.
Sir, this is very important. I need you to repeat the address for me to make sure I have it right.
Hey, y'all boys, back up! It's the old lady that always calls the cops over here.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am?
I need you to go inside your house
y'all boys, back up!
and lock the door for your safety.
Okay, she's in front of the lady's house. She was knocking on her door.
Okay.
Hey, it's the old lady that always calls the cops over here.
Sir, do you see the deputy?
She's on the ground. Hey, the cops just put up. They're right here. Thank you so much.
When they reached the scene, it wasn't what they expected. Both 911 calls were about the same incident, but they weren't about the same person. When police received the call, they assumed that the situation had escalated to the point that the woman finally broke in and shot the hysterical woman who called 911, but that wasn't the case. The reality was far more tragic. One called for help for her life, the other lost hers. So the question was, who was the real victim?
Where's she shot at?
Right here in arm. Right here.
Chest. Right side of chest. Okay. There's no exit. Just keep, if she needs CPR, keep doing CPR. I don't see a lot of blood here. Yeah, I don't see the blood either. It's probably like a 20
right now. I got her baby.
Here, move. She's got a pulse. Move. She does? Here,
Yeah.
move. She's got a pulse. Where's the gunshot? Right here.
The woman on the ground at the brink of death is a 35-year-old mother of 4, a G.K. Owens, shot in the chest in front of her children. As the officer tried to save her, another team moved next door to the person who made the 911 call, the shooter.
All right.
Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up! This is the Marion County Sheriff's Office, come outside with your hands up!
Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Turn around. Turn around. Where's your gun at?
You got hands? You got hands?
You're gonna be detained.
Is there anybody else in the house?
There's somebody else in the house. Can I just get my
No,
daughter's-
no, not right now.
Alright.
You're not under arrest. You're being detained.
Okay, I understand.
Come over here.
Here, step out for me real quick. Alright, I'm gonna move your handcuffs to the front, alright?
Please lock my house.
We're gonna secure your house.
Okay.
Alright, let me see your
Alright.
lay it together like you're praying.
Okay. Alright. In my pocket is my keys for the house.
We'll grab those in a second, alright?
Today has been a very bad day. There's something bad that's happened. And y'all seen it, y'all understand it, y'all experienced it, right? Okay. Y'all love me? Okay. Y'all love Mom? All right. Well, I got some bad news to tell you. Mom's not coming back anymore. Come. No. Come here. Come over here. Listen to me. No, I know. Okay. It's okay. I know. It's okay. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am sorry. I'm so sorry.
You can't go.
She's going. It's all right. You guys are going to be okay.
It's okay to cry. It's okay.
Officers needed to piece together what really happened on that porch, which ended with a mother being shot while her children watched her die.
I can tell you what I heard. The kids were playing outside earlier, right? In his yard. And yes, ma'am. And one of the little kids, he left his iPad on the ground. And I guess the old white lady that shot the lady, she grabbed his iPad and she threw a roller skate at him. And she came out with an umbrella too and was trying to swing at him or something like that. Okay. And then,
is that what you heard or is that what you saw?
That's what I heard.
Okay, well, let's just focus on what you saw.
And the only thing I heard was her knocking on the door pretty loud, right?
Who was knocking on the door?
The lady that got shot, right?
She was knocking on the other lady's door.
Yeah, like to see what went between the two kids, you know, like.
Wait, did
between her and
you see anything or?
You gotta talk to the kids. You gotta talk to the kids. You gotta talk to the little kid and the older one.
Okay.
I mean, it's just my kid who went into the house.
Okay.
He was all panicking and scared. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, I see him all. So no, well, he was having a hard time explaining.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened? I mean, I heard before that. I heard something like a 22.
Yeah.
Bah! It went off, and I'm like, I mean, obviously, I know when I hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, when he said that, I put 1 and 2 together. I'm like, whoa, let me see. So I'm walking out. I see everyone going crazy. The kids crying over there.
From what the police gathered so far, this looked like a neighbor dispute that had spiraled out of control. There was one more witness, a kid who was playing with Ajike's children when the incident took place. Police turned to him, hoping that he'd tell them what actually happened.
What's going on, my man? All right, first,
Here, give me this. It's okay, relax. Nothing happened. You're good.
it's all right. You can take a deep breath. Take as long as you need.
Reclínate aquí de la unidad.
She came and banged on the door, her window.
Okay.
Slide door. That she banged on that, and then the door.
Okay.
And then I was on my electric scooter right here, and then I don't know where I hear a big bang.
Okay.
I was running.
Did you actually see anybody with any kind of gun, anything like that, or did you just hear?
I was here running.
Okay. What did you see after that?
I don't know. I came outside and I saw my first mom on the ground.
Okay.
Witnesses told the police that earlier that night, Susan had thrown an iPad and a pair of skates at Ajike's child during an argument. Furious, Ajike walked over to confront her. She knocked on the door, screaming at her to come out, but she never opened it. Then a single shot rang out. Now that the police had one side of the story, it was time to hear the other. Susan Lorenz's. She was taken in for questioning, and what she'd say would be nothing like what the witnesses said. Her version would send the entire case spiraling in a shocking new direction. Susan doesn't believe she needs a lawyer. She's talking to the detectives, certain she's in the right and she'll be going home tonight. But this interrogation isn't what she thinks it is.
I think she said, why do you speak to my children this way? And I said, listen, I'm not going to speak to you. Go away. You know, if she had a problem, she should have called you guys. You know, honestly. I mean, if she really thought there was something seriously wrong, I don't understand why she just came over and just started pounding on my door and, you know, screaming and yelling. So.
And then what happened after you said to go away? To
go away, and then it got quiet for a bit. And then she started really banging, you know, just pounding on that door. She was relentless.
How long is a bit, would you say?
I don't know,
like
because
5, 10 seconds or 2 minutes? Or?
It was an extended period of time, probably 20 to 30 seconds, easily.
But during that time, you didn't hear anything else? Did you think she went away?
No, well, I obviously knew she didn't go away because she was screaming while she was pounding.
Describe that. When you say screaming, describe what does that mean?
She just, you're not supposed to speak to my children this way. Why did you, you know? And then she was saying, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, oh. You know, and that's when
Well, you said there was like the initial barrage of the pounding, and you said, who's there? And she said, you know, what you said about not talking to her children that way.
Yeah.
And then you said it got quiet. So there was no banging, there was no words being said.
Because I thought she went away.
That's what I was asking. Basically, I'm sorry if I.
No, it's okay. I thought, all right, you know, she's just going to do whatever she wants to do.
And you said that was like 20 to 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And then did she start yelling again first, or was there more banging?
It was banging, it was yelling. I thought she was just going to break down the door.
Okay.
So, I mean, my heart was pounding, and I was like, she's really going to kill me.
Susan says she doesn't know why a GK came banging on her door that night, but the kids who saw it told the police something else. One of them said Susan had actually called for their mom. Whether GK came on her own or was called matters a lot, especially since Susan claims she shot her in self-defense.
So that's during the time where it was kind of quiet, and you thought that maybe she went away. Okay. And when the banging and the yelling started again, where were you at then?
I think I was in the kitchen.
Okay. All right. And then what happened?
And then she just kept banging and yelling, like, you need to leave, you're trespassing, get off my porch, you know, get out of here, you know, I'm not talking to you, leave.
Okay, who else was outside the door besides Adjika?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I have no idea.
Where were the other kids? Because I know the kids had been over there prior to her coming over?
Yeah,
or?
they were right by the, you know, where the fence is, and then there's a sidewalk. They were right beyond that sidewalk. Inside where it's supposed to be no trespassing.
Okay, so they were outside of the fence while she was banging on the door?
I have no idea.
Oh, you're not sure?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You asked me when the kids were there earlier.
Right.
So.
Susan is clear about her boundaries, especially when it comes to children crossing into her yard. Yet she admits she had no idea where those children were when she shot through the door. Any one of them could have been her target, just like their mother. This was not the only incident. In fact, there have been many.
But then we're talking about what happened there today, and this woman that she passed away. You said that you guys have yelled at each other 3 or 4 times in about a year and a half to 2 years. Is that right?
Yes.
And the last time she yelled at you a lot. Did you ever? I've worked as a patrol deputy for years. Did you guys ever get in like a fight in the street or anything like that? No, nothing like that.
You gotta be kidding me. I'm sorry.
I gotta ask. I guess I don't know you that well.
No.
Did she ever brandish a weapon or anything like that, or something?
The only thing she ever did is she picked up the no trespassing sign and threw it at me and hit me.
Okay. And I know that the police came out a lot of times. Did the police ever come out for that time when she threw the sign?
Yeah, and then everybody in the neighborhood said, oh, we didn't see anything.
Okay.
So it was a he said, she said, so they said they couldn't charge anything.
Sure.
And like, all right.
And obviously you have a firearm. I haven't had a chance to ask you about this. Now, is that a gun that you've had for years, or you just had it for a couple of weeks? Help me understand that.
No, over a year.
Okay, over a year.
Though Susan believes a street fight type situation is beneath her, neighbors don't think the same way. GK and Susan have had problems for at least a year that only intensified in the last few months.
I'm sorry, my heart's thumping. I just didn't know she was going to actually get physical with me.
What the sign?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and that's not cool. You don't get physical. I mean,
she just threw it?
No, she whipped it at me. I mean, she hit me.
Showing her sign, showing her sign, like almost like she went and bought a little private property sign when she stepped in there. So she had the sign and she's basically like landing the sign in my face. And then when she went to pick it back up, I picked the sign up and I threw the sign. I literally picked the sign up, and as I walked outside, I threw the sign. I said, I can go and buy a sign too. It still doesn't mean anything. At that point, I guess she's already on the phone, and I'm being attacked. Someone's attacking me. I'm literally in the street now, perceiving it.
Okay.
Everybody's
Where this happening?
right over here behind the mailboxes.
Okay.
But what truly alarmed the detectives was the disturbing pattern Susan had left behind. It was not only a GK that Susan had troubles with. She was not well liked in the neighborhood. When investigators inquired about the previous instance between the two, people easily sided with a GK.
She just set it down, and the lady just happened to be there. She didn't throw it at the lady. She didn't touch the lady or nothing. All she did was tell the lady to stop yelling at her kids. That lady yells at everybody's kids out here.
Okay. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go over there anymore.
His mother can go over here. If you treat my son like that again, I'm going to rip your ass out and go beat you up. Excuse me? I don't bloody well from the start. And I said, see that no trespassing sign? Get off my porch. And no, I'm not going to. I said, no, I'm calling the sheriff's department. And I don't know who the hell she was, but...
Do you know where she lives?
I guess somewhere in there.
Do you know what she looks like?
She was black, I think, 20s, 30s, but I'm not going to take this.
Susan had called the police over a dozen times in just a few months, including once when she complained about them making too much noise.
Get paid.
I'm getting too much feedback on the phone from the dog.
Sure.
Go someplace where he's not barking. Please, I'm getting too much feedback. I can't hear my customers. Dog, tapping.
It's a dog. We can't stop the dog from barking.
Yeah, but it's too much feedback. Can you please at least go someplace? I'm not getting too much feedback.
That's, all right, well, you have a good one. Apparently, we can't stay here and have a conversation with shit.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
That's what I'm saying. She's not over there, right?
However, Susan's neighborly problems and bickering ending in someone's death was not what anyone expected.
What kind of things was she saying that you called her kids?
I called them racial slurs, that I called them slaves, and that's never happened. I mean, when she said, I'm like, what are you, stop already, stop lying, you know? And I was like, enough, what? I did call them retards once, because they just kept coming and coming. I said, are you retarded? You can't read the sign.
Okay.
You know, how many times do we have to tell you you're trespassing, you know?
Now, all these kids nowadays, they have tablets and phones and stuff. Are you, I mean, you can tell us the truth. I mean, it's just us in here. I think we were looking at different videos and people were telling us about, we spoke to everybody in the neighborhood separately. Mm-hmm. Was there other times when you got frustrated or something with these kids and you said something else that we're not talking about? I mean, have you said other words to them or something about middle fingers or something? Tell me about that.
It wasn't at the kids, it was at the gentleman.
Who's the gentleman?
I only know him by his name, Sapito.
So, okay.
So he's a guy, he gets all the kids together, so they're screaming and yelling and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm like, stop already. And I asked him, I said, please stop. I don't like the yelling. I just, you know, I'm sorry, going to break down.
No, take your time. What is the crazy stuff that Sapito has these kids doing? Tell me about that.
He used to ride a four-wheeler. And he would come around the house. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Then he'd have the kids on the back, no helmets, no nothing. And I'm like, stop already. The one time I went out there, he almost hit me. He's like, missed you. Jesus Christ, really? And I'm like, I just can't deal with it. I have an injury right now. I have an aneurysm on my left kidney artery. If he hit me, he'd have killed me.
Based on this interrogation, one might assume Susan had not directed any verbal insult toward the children and only talked to the parents, but they would be gravely wrong.
So, were you the guys that this lady was mad about?
Yes, and I just want to say that every time, like even if we're not...
Hold on. Let's bring it down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Every time, even if we're not on her property and we're just like being loud and playing basketball over there because there's a basketball hoop.
I got you.
Like she just calls us names.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally, literally all the kids, because that's an open spot right there.
Yeah.
all that is not her property.
I got
The
you.
guy that I was telling this officer right here, this guy has said numerous times, y'all come over here and play, because they all like to play football and stuff.
Okay.
In a crazier version of events that will unfold at the end of the interview, she'll admit to some racially charged words that might have been used against the children.
So after that initial silence where, well, I wouldn't say silence, but it got quiet, you were washing your hands in the bathroom, and then the pounding and the yelling started again, and you went to the kitchen. What were you doing in the kitchen?
I was looking for my phone.
Okay.
So I put my phone down somewhere and I started panicking and I started searching for the phone. And then she just kept banging and banging and banging. I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, you know, get out of here. You know, and I'm like, I have nowhere to go. I mean, I was in the kitchen, there was the sliders, and the sliders are always locked. And just that one door, so there's no escape.
Okay.
I couldn't leave, I couldn't get out of there. I was like, Jesus Christ. And she was pounding so hard, the mirror on my wall was shaking.
Okay.
Susan told the detectives that she was looking for her phone, but by this time, she'd likely already dialed 911. There's a secret about the timing she's leaving out, something the investigators already know. While maintaining that she was bullied, she's also downplaying the intensity of anger she harbored against her neighbors.
It ends here. They're screaming, yelling. I don't get a break from the kids at all. They don't have children. I've asked them, please, you know, the kids all live on that side of the street. For some reason, they love to play over here. I'm like, guys.
Probably because it's open.
I understand that. I have migraines, horrible migraines. I had a very bad car wreck. I had my neck fused. I need more back surgery. I don't want to have children. I've asked them, please, keep the kids away. You know, there's other places they can play. They don't have to play here. They're screaming, yelling at me, telling the kids are not hurting anybody. The kids, you know, they're not damaging anything. Well, they're damaging me because the migraines are so bad. Most days I could barely stand. I'm on Pyramate. I'm on Furosets. I'm on Sumatriptan. It's horrible for me. I'm in pain. I don't have the children. I'm not trying to be, but, you know, it's not fun. We'll have home. I do insurance, and the kids are screaming and yelling. And so it's very hard for me. And this is my apartment here. When they're all here in the front, it's really, we can hear it's loud, it's noisy, the kids are active.
Okay.
They're kids.
Yeah,
but when they come on the side here, I just can't hear my clients.
Okay.
And that's not fair to me.
Yeah, I understand
You
that.
know, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Aggravated.
Okay. So what's going on?
Okay, I've got young ladies who just keep coming by and think it's hysterical while I'm working to bring their animals and scream while I'm on the phone. There's signs, no trespassing by the windows for a reason. There's no trespassing because they can't be here. And then they're standing there telling me, okay, cunt, whore, enough. They need to be trespassed the hell out of here.
So what I'm looking at, where they're at, you can't trespass anybody from that location.
They're right in front of my windows.
But here is showing them in the parking lot.
The whole area, you know, this whole thing is private property.
Yes. The issue is that the parking lot is a common area.
But then they don't live here.
If they live in the park and they just cut through the parking lot,
No, they're not in the parking lot. They're on the grass.
that's technically part of the parking. So unless they're like in here or
But this is
in this
all
grass.
part of, the whole thing is private property. You understand this whole development is private. Even the road is private, okay? I have my real estate license, trust me. This is all private. Even the road is privately owned by the owners in this development. Okay? So everything is private, all privately owned.
Well, first of all, you can't trespass somebody from a road.
However, some of these feelings are displayed during interrogation when Susan would give what she thinks is another word for unlawful and rude, something she called her neighbors' children often.
And then when we talk about racial slurs, have you made those not to anyone in particular? You've just spoken to the air, you've spoken to other people, because there's been multiple different ways that we've kind of been learning about you saying these things. Describe that to me and specifically.
In regards to?
Words like the N-word that you've said. Describe that to me specifically when you've said that.
I can't remember if I said it or if I didn't say it.
You sound unsure.
Whether it's out of anger or, I mean,
I don't know.
someone's calling you names and you can become kind of overwhelmed with, you're having to hear this kind of thing all the time. And like you said, you might say something that you normally wouldn't say.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
So I've noticed there's been some gaps in your memory, and that's why I've asked you about your memory, because some of the specific things that I asked, specifically this, you say, I'm not sure, I don't remember, and that's happened a couple times while we've been talking today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to better understand that as why you don't remember some of these things specifically, or what's going on. I don't know if it's something you feel shameful or embarrassed about. I don't want you to feel that way while we're talking. I'd rather you just be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I've been asking you some of those things. Is there any reason why anybody would have any video or anything like that of you saying like the N-word? Is there any reason why someone would have that?
I have no idea. And if I did let it go, I'm sorry. I mean, I could have slipped out.
Being honest with, what context would it slip out, do you think? I mean, what would happen for you to say something like that?
If they were being extraordinarily rude, or if they were just, I was always taught the N-word meant that you were just being unlawful, dirty, just, I don't know, generally not being pleasant.
Okay.
And that's only because, again, Dad was Hungarian, Mom was Polish, and it came up in the conversation, so they asked me to go to my friend Sheila and ask her, what does the N-word mean? And her mom said, it just means that someone who doesn't work, someone who is not productive, someone who is not, acting normally, lawfully.
Sure. Okay.
Whether Susan is lying as to what she understood to be the meaning of the racial slurs she used, or she exactly knew what she was talking about, we don't know. But the detectives do believe she's lying somewhere in her story about the day of the incident. In another interrogation, Susan's self-defense claims will come crashing down.
And I know from what it sounds like, I talked to several people out there, and it seems like this has been an ongoing thing where the harassment continues and just being obnoxious and don't have respect for their neighbors and just doing whatever they want, and it builds and it builds and it builds until you can't take it anymore. And unfortunately, it's led to this event.
It was only because she was pounding at my door, and I, honest to God, thought she was going to come in.
Okay. So we have, over in our communication center, they're putting together, because all the calls that come into 911 are audio recorded, and there were several people even before. So there's open lines, we're recording and getting audio of exactly what's being said. Not to mention if your camera's captured anything, okay? So that's why I'm like asking you before we go through that, and if something is different than what you're telling me, we need to clear that up now, because if it, you know what I mean, if the evidence shows something different than what you're saying, it doesn't look good, and I want to be open and honest with you.
I just know that she was pounding and pounding on the door and scaring the shit out of me.
Okay. But is there any reason why, if we reviewed that evidence, she wasn't saying, I'm going to kill you?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
This line of questioning is routine to help investigators figure out if a shooting was in the heat of the moment or something more. But with Susan, the story takes a stranger turn. She moved into the neighborhood around the same time she bought her first gun just a year ago. Whether Susan's neighbors were the reason for her to get a gun is yet to be found out.
You make the conscious decision to aim your gun at the door and fire one round, right? Just one round?
Yes.
Fire one round. Were you trying to hit her, or were you trying to scare her off? Were you trying to make a loud noise to say like, hey, I got a fucking gun, get away from my door? Or were you
I was never intending to hit her. I just thought, I thought I hit really high, I was just like, kind of, this is the first time I ever really used it, where I was, like...
Not on a paper target.
Exactly. I was like, oh my God. So I was shaking. I was just so distraught at that point in time. I'm like, oh my God, she's really gonna freaking come to my house. And I was just like, All I could think is go away, go away, go away, go away.
Did you mean to, were you aiming for the door?
I just fired the gun because all I could think of is I felt like I was in mortal danger. I mean, it's just how I felt.
And what made you, I mean, I know someone's banging on the door, you feel like they could get in, but at that point where nobody had breached or been able to get through that secure door, what made you feel like that was the time that you needed to do that?
I usually have a chair propped up against the door at night.
Okay.
And I didn't have the chair up there, and I didn't have the chain on the door either. So just the one lock was locked. And I'm like, oh shit, you know, of all the times that I never...
But before you decided to pull that trigger, you didn't think to try to put
I wasn't going near the door because she was actually physically moving the door. You know, like you could see the door moving. I'm like, oh dear God.
In her last statement, Susan already slipped up on something that's troubling the detectives. However, before they confront her with what they believe to be the truth, she's given one last chance to come clean.
And I think that you shot at her because you were fed up and you were over it.
No.
Is that?
No.
No?
I absolutely feared for my life.
So this
was an absolute, it's either me or her. I mean, it's just like, I'm like, holy shit.
But did you see her with a gun or another weapon or anything like that?
But I don't know what she had on the outside.
This is the time investigators are going to change the game, and it will not go down well for a lying Susan.
You know, it's not like, you know, I'm fed up or anything. This was a real fear.
But when we first started talking, you said you made it very clear to the 911 call taker that she was threatening to kill you.
Yes, absolutely.
And if that's not on the recording, is there any reason why that's not on the recording?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure I said it. So.
Are you just pretty sure she said it as well? That she
Oh no, absolutely, she said it.
Okay.
Witnesses did report hearing commotion and banging that night, but no one heard Ajike threatening Susan. It's possible the distance between Susan's house and her neighbors played a role in that, but that still doesn't explain the other glaring holes in her story.
So I'm trying to understand, do you have this imminent fear that you're about to die? Or do you have this, I'm afraid of what's going to happen if this person doesn't go away? Does that make sense?
No, I felt like I was in imminent danger.
Okay. How would you define imminent danger? I just want to make sure that you because that's what the actual
imminent
law...
danger, let's say someone coming at you with a nice 4-ton truck, you know, straight at you, and, you know, they're swerving with you when you're trying to run away.
Okay. So, someone coming at you and you're this close to danger. Okay.
Now, the first time that you called 911 tonight.
I'm walking away and she's literally walking 1 foot behind me like she was, you know, I thought, oh my God, she's gonna pound me into the ground.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my question though, is if she wasn't trying to come in, she's just trying to get, and again, I wouldn't come to the door either. If you're beating on my door, wanting to cause something, I'm not answering it. But that's different than trying to bust the door down.
To me, she was
And you said that the door's
door.
already broken, so
Yes.
how hard would it have been for her, because she's kind of a big girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
How hard would it have been for her to break that door knowing you're home? You know your door better than I do, but if it's already...
Well, we did put the extra long deadbolt on and everything. I did have the deadbolt on, so I didn't know how long the door was gonna
See,
hold up.
and that's why I'm asking is
So-
because at first it's broken and now it's super secure with an extra long deadbolt.
No, I'm just
And that's
saying that we did put but if you look at it, everything's crumbling. I mean, if you look at the door, things are crumbling. I'm like, oh my God, you know, my landlord is 76 years old, and he jerry-rigged it. Literally jerry-rigged it. And I'm like, oh my God. So it's not, I don't feel secure. Every night I stick a chair under that door to keep, you know, because I feel like someone's gonna break it in.
And my supervisor came in, he's actually kind of been listening a little. And something that caught my ear, like when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned the words, and I asked you to repeat it because I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. You had mentioned terminology like reasonable and prudent in reference to how AJ was acting at your door while she was trespassing and everything. Where did that come from, that terminology? Is that
watching TV.
Watching TV? Okay. Like documentary stuff, or like what?
Probably just crime shows and stuff.
Crime shows, okay. I have to ask you this: have you done any research on like the laws as far as like in Florida, as far as self-defense and things like that?
I looked at it today.
You looked at it today?
When I was on Facebook. Just some things that, they had it up on Facebook.
Describe that. What did you, specifically, what you were reading about and learning about?
They said self-defense, and I'm trying to think what the hell else I looked at today. So much crap. Mostly emails. But I just remember saying self-defense, and there was a bunch of lawyers and stuff like that.
So, prior to today, even the last time that you and I spoke on very early Saturday morning, you had used some of that same kind of terminology in describing the situation that occurred at your front door. Prior to today, had you ever done any kind of research like that? And before I ask, let me just say, if we were to look through everything in your phone or your home desktop computer, is there anything kind of research on your internet history that would show that you've done research on like self-defense? Or have you ever heard of the term stand your ground?
Yes.
Have you ever done any kind of research on that?
Yes, when it was mentioned on some guy shot someone at a convenience store, and they said stand your ground now, laws.
Was that like a Florida situation? Because
Yes.
I know every state
Yes.
has kind of different laws.
I think it was Florida. I thought it was Florida.
Okay. And when was that?
God, years ago.
It was years ago?
Yeah, that was a years ago thing.
So nothing recent that would be on like your internet browser history?
I just looked it up today.
Right, but I mean other than, basically before this incident occurred at your door, but we're not talking about like a couple years ago. We're talking about within the last few months, would there be, because your internet browser, even if you delete it or you go on private browser, if we take a look at those things, because we did go through your phone, the judge signed an order for us to be able to do that. He agreed that there was reasonable enough evidence to be able to do that.
No matter how suspicious detectives were of Susan or how completely remorseless she seemed, there was still no solid evidence to prove that the shooting was planned. And until they figured that out, the question was what exactly they could charge her with. As days went by with no arrest, public anger exploded. Protests were made demanding justice for G.K. Owens. People across Florida were holding their breath, worried that stand your ground might be used again to justify what happened. The case quickly gained national attention. Was it truly self-defense or a deadly abuse of the law? Marion County Sheriff Billy Woods defended the delay, stating the investigation needed to be thorough, citing legal procedures and evidence review.
The way the laws are written in this state, and this is what people need to understand, that our hands are tied in law enforcement in these cases where we are instructed that we cannot make the arrest because we have to rule out whether the shooting was justified or unjustified.
After nearly a week of investigation, on June 6, 2023, Susan Lorenz was finally arrested and charged with manslaughter, among other offenses. For GK's family and the community, it was one step closer to justice, but it wasn't over. It wasn't going to be as easy as they'd hoped. Holding someone accountable is one thing. Proving it in court is another.
I wanted to come to you tonight to give you an update on the homicide that occurred over the weekend. Tonight, we have arrested 58-year-old Susan Lorenz for the killing of Miss A.J. Owens. Now, many of you were struggling to understand why there was not an immediate arrest. And that's one of the things. My detectives cannot complete an investigation without getting all sides of a story. And that night, all we had was one person's story, and that was the shooter's story. But Miss Owens' story had to be told through evidence in the eyes of witnesses who were there.
As the trial began on August 13, 2024, the facts of the case were laid out in court. Susan was charged with manslaughter and other offenses in the shooting death of a G.K. Owens.
Miss Owens coming to the door, banging on the door, the defendant going in to her bedroom, getting the gun, coming out, aiming at the door, shooting, and then her getting her cell phone and making a call took 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Not the 10 minutes like she told the detectives. When you were next to Miss Owens, did you notice any weapons around her? Any gun, any knife, any kind of bat, anything like that near her?
No, sir.
Did you ever see Isaac and Izzy's mom reach for the door handle?
No.
Did you ever hear Isaac and Izzy's mom say, "I'm going to kill you"?
No.
that challenged Susan's claim of self-defense. Even the responding officers testified that a G.K. Owens was unarmed and posed no immediate threat when she was shot through a closed door. After just 2.5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict.
As to count one of the charge, the defendant is guilty of manslaughter.
I have never ever dealt with someone who was that violent that quickly. And so I was terrified of this woman, literally terrified.
This entire tragedy could have been avoided. A mother of 4, a G.K. A.J. Owens, lost her life over a neighborhood dispute that escalated into irreversible violence.
There was a nest, the prettiest nest that you ever did see. Let me see your nest. Was a nest on the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground.
Her children, who witnessed the horrific event, are now forced to navigate life without their mother's love, protection, or guidance. Meanwhile, Susan Lorenz will spend her remaining years surrounded by people she can't choose, with no doors to slam, no neighbors to avoid.